Paul Kagame, M23 Rwanda, are still making news around the world. Now, Julius Malema, the opposition guy in South Africa, is sending a serious, strong warning to Paul Kagame over the killing of South African soldiers and the abduction of South African soldiers. That is saying that a lot of South African soldiers are under siege, are under the control, are under the hands of Paul Kagame. They are being mistreated. They are being manhandled. Bad things are being done to them by M23 under the watch of Paul Kagame. Because Paul Kagame is the commander-in-chief of armed forces of the Republic of Rwanda. And Julius Malema says Paul Kagame is the one commanding, facilitating, financing, enabling M23 to capture, to abduct, to mistreat, to mishandle, to kill South African soldiers. Even those who were killed, their bodies have started decomposing without any clear passage for them to be collected, to be repatriated back home in South Africa for a decent burial. Then Julius Malema is sending a strong warning, serious warning to Paul Kagame that you might think you are strong today because you are backed by France and other imperialists, but get to know South Africa has got the biggest army in Africa, and we will. So let's first get that message, information, warning from Julius Malema.
If Rwanda is found that it has killed our soldiers, it must be held responsible. It was Rwanda. It was Kigali, it was Kagame who killed our soldiers. The support he gave to M23, and that M23 acting in a disrespectful manner they did to the South African soldiers, they knew they've got a backing of Rwanda. But now, why do you want to treat Rwanda like it's a friend, like it's progressive? Rwanda was prepared to take immigrants from London at the exchange of money. They are the ones who are working with imperialist forces to want to undermine DRC. We're not saying the government of DRC is perfect, but it cannot be undermined the way the guy is doing. Kagame and Museveni. So Kagame has got blood of South Africans on his hands, and nothing is going to change. Now we're told the bodies are decomposing. There's no clear passage to can go and collect the bodies. They've captured the South African base, by the way, and they're not telling you this in confidence. They keep on talking as if things are fine. Things are not fine. They've captured the base next to the airport. What is that airport? The Goma airport. Our base is captured there. Our soldiers are under the supervision of M23. When they want to go to a toilet, they ask for permission from M23 and they accompany them to a toilet. This were told by a soldier on the phone. Deputy President of the EFF was there. He says the only thing they haven't done to belittle us and make us more humiliated and violated is that they've not taken our guns. That's the only thing. But even if they carry those guns, what can they do? You're going to shoot and run away. Because you've got soldiers inside your camp and more soldiers outside your camp. So there's no need. They know you can't do anything with those guns. So they've destroyed the South African army. You could say we cut the budget, but you still send soldiers outside South Africa. You still send soldiers outside South Africa even when you don't have budget. You must first deal with your house first to be in order before you can go and help other people. South Africa's army is not in order. Someone was saying the fighter, they've released fighter jets, hey, on good road. There's nothing, there's no fighter jet, nothing. Till today, there's nothing. Where is that Roy Falk we were told growing up that is the best fighting machine? Where is it? Grounded. And then because this failure is done by favorites of the establishment, they are not exposing their failures. If it was a different government, for sure, the pictures of those soldiers of South Africa who are captured were going to be circulating now. The reason why we no longer see those videos of South Africans, they took phones away from them. They no longer have phones. So there is a big problem. We have no capacity. That's why I'm not saying let's go and attack. I'm saying withdraw. Let's regroup. Let's regroup and retrain. And if Rwanda has got anything to do with this, let's go for them. Because we're not going to have Rwanda dictating to us. And Kagame speaking to Cyril the way he was doing. We know Cyril is weak, but he remains the president of our country. The way he was addressing Cyril, he was addressing us. He can't address us like that. He can't kill our people and not be challenged on that. And SADC agrees that the Rwandan army had something to do with what is happening there. Who is the commander-in-chief of the Rwandan armed forces is Kagame. We are not saying DRC is in a good hands and therefore it's just being provoked. By how DRC has dealt with issues in Eastern DRC is something that needs to be resolved if we're to have a permanent resolution into that crisis. But to undermine colonial borders because you think you've got a backing of France and all imperialist forces to an extent of challenging the biggest army, South Africa, they've undermined us to the extreme. And South Africa, at some point, it might not be today because we are not in a rightful position to do so. Let the soldiers come back. Let our brothers and sisters come back. Let's give them a dignified funeral. And as part of a mourning nation, that demonstration by army at the opening of parliament was not supposed to come. They were not supposed to have that parade on Thursday during the State of the Nation address. You are going to parade what, man? Again, parading is to show us how capable you are. You are exposed. They're going to be intimidating us there with 21 gun salute as if they can use it anywhere else. It can only be used there during rehearsals. So if I was in the army, I would suggest if in parliament we don't go, we must be ashamed. The only way we are going to reclaim our dignity is by receiving those dead bodies, bringing back the soldiers, giving the dead bodies a dignified send-off, and regrouping and retraining and putting a very strong team that will go back and reclaim South Africa's place in the continental politics, because as things stand, we're a joke. The EFF remains firm in its stance that the deployment of South African National Defence Force to Democratic Republic of Congo is reckless and unjustifiable. With the increasing hostilities involving M23 rebels, it is imperative that South Africa withdraws its troops to ensure their safety. The escalation of tensions presents a clear risk and it is unacceptable for our soldiers to be caught in a conflict where their presence does not serve the interests of peace in the region. Furthermore, should it be established that Rwanda deliberately targeted South African forces, then President Cyril Ramaphosa must act decisively. South Africa cannot continue diplomatic and trade relations with a nation that undermines its sovereignty and endangers its citizens. If Rwanda is found to be directly responsible for the attacks on South African troops, then all trade agreements and engagements with the country must be revoked without any hesitation. The embassy of Rwanda should be closed with immediate effect because we cannot share the soil with the people who have blood of South Africans on their hands. Our reluctance to engage in warfare should never be mistaken as a cowardice, and our call for a retreat should never be confused as fear. Should the threats and attack on the South African National Defence Force persist while we call for peace and diplomatic resolution of the conflict continue, then South Africa must defend itself. To state the sovereign right of self-defense in the face of provocation is not warmongering, but a necessary caution that South Africa must and is able to recollect its strength and defend itself should it be necessary.
That's Julius Malema strong message response to Paul Kagame under the threats of South Africa by Paul Kagame and Rwanda M23. He says if Rwanda, Paul Kagame, intentionally killed South African soldiers, then President Ramaphosa must act, and they must go for Rwanda, because that's infringing on the sovereignty of South Africa. So Ramaphosa must act, must say, now let's go for our dignity, because now South Africa was being taken as Africa's giant, Africa's superpower, Africa's biggest, Africa's number one. And now if tiny country like Rwanda, just with M23, can intimidate, can kill, can stop South Africa to speak, then South Africa is nothing. Julius Malema says the dignity, the class of South African army, the position is now being loosened. We are losing that position. Many people have in their mind that South Africa is the biggest, and was the biggest, is the biggest, and must be the biggest in Africa, must be a superpower of Africa. Now, if that can be portrayed in today's M23 Paul Kagame Rwanda crisis, then when will that be? Meaning our forces are the weakest. If our forces are the weakest on the continent Africa, then we must call our children back from Congo, DRC, that please give us our children back home. Give us our bodies, we give them a decent burial, and we retrain, we regroup our army. We sophisticate it with the technology, with the manpower it deserves to be with. And after training it vigorously to the modern day training, then we send it back. Ramaphosa must call back the army, train it more, and if they see now our army is strong enough to fight M23, then they send the army back to Congo and they fight M23. But as for now, Julius Malema says and strongly believes their army, South African army, is the weakest on the continent. How can the army be rounded up? How can the army be killed, members be killed, and they can't help themselves? That the president of South Africa promised or told the nation that they have the strongest army. They have all the machines needed for the warfare to win the war. And no one can even dare test the South African army. Now that not even a single helicopter, not even a single plane, not even a single jet is flying from South Africa to Congo to rescue their members, then what a lie. What a disaster. Why not call back our children from the mouth of a leopard so that they are not killed and retrain them to modernity? But why all this? Just because of M23. And who are M23? Why M23 is there? Who will stop M23? Who really supports M23? Is Paulo Kagame, Western world? Is it France? Is it German? Is it UK? Is it US? Who supports M23 and why? Is it because of the Congo minerals that they want to buy these minerals from them at a cheaper cost because they are going through illegal means? Because they think when we go through legal means that we spark a deal with the government of Kinshasa, it will be expensive for us than supplying guns to M23 and we buy from them the minerals at a simple, smaller cost. So we better fight, we better kill Congolese, we better we better violate human rights in Congo, and we take their minerals illegally than striking a deal with the government in power and get those minerals through legal means. Then, if it's like that, who will stop M23? Will Congo stop M23? Will South Africa stop M23? Who will do this? Let's continue to speak about this, bro. If you think somebody will save the war, will save Congo, will help the war from M23. M23, do they have a point in what they are crying for, in what they are fighting for, or there is no point? Please take your comments in the comment section, bro. Let's drive the conversation in the comment section and forge a way forward for M23, Congo, Rwanda, Paul Kagame, South Africa crisis in DRC. See you.